all right. So, I'm here for another live stream here. It's about 12:42 in the afternoon here. So, a little bit of an early stream today. I do apologize. I've been trying to do this particular live stream. I want to say that maybe the past 3 nights I've been trying to do it. Like, say for instance, like I'll schedule it for like 11:30 p.m. And due to certain circumstances, I have to alter or change the time. You know what I'm saying? So I do apologize about that, but I got the chance for maybe an hour here to go live. So I figured, what the hell, we'll go ahead and get that stream, out of the way. Because I've been meaning to do it for a little bit now. So anyway, um, you can see the title, right? Something along the lines of, Sicarii, RabyawaSap or something, whatever this cat's name is, right? Um, versus ETT, debate recap and live Q&A or whatever, right? So a little background story. So I was watching this dude named Sicarii Yasap or something like that. And this guy is like one of the top officers in Sicarii, or at least some type of Sicarii. I believe he said that he was the officer over the Miami, Florida camp, right? So, I seen some discussions that this individual did with a few other, individuals. So I was like, you know what? I see the guy's email there. I'll reach out to this guy, and maybe we could have a live conversation. About a couple of topics that I've been intrigued about. A couple of the topics I brought up to their former deacon of the group, Deacon Hakah. But he recently, I want to say, in the last like 5 or 6 months, this guy left the group and started up a new camp called the Genesis Israelites. But he used to be like the second in command of this organization called Sicarii, right? So I talked to that dude maybe like 2, 3 years ago about a couple of these topics, and I think he got say for instance, he gave me like a half-ass answer on them, right? I wasn't satisfied with what he was giving me. So I figured, what, I'll call back in and talk to this other individual and, see how the conversation goes, right? So I hit him with a couple of different topics. I wanted to talk about, is the kingdom of heaven literal? Because they teach that when you read about Revelation 21 about the kingdom there, they teach it as not literal, right? They teach like it's symbolic of something. It's like, okay, so that was one topic. Then another one, they teach that everlasting life is not literal. So that was the second topic. And then the third topic, I seen this. This is a controversial one. I seen that Gorilla Hebrew, which is literally the leader of this organization. He said in a debate, like a street debate, somebody was talking to him about like the tribulation of those days, the great tribulation in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 20. And Alazar was telling them, well, yeah, that actually was talking about like the Roman Jewish wars from 64 AD to 73 AD. When the Great Tribulation was basically like around the time of like 70 AD. I was like, wait, what the hell? And then a couple years prior to that, the dude was on a live conversation with a full preterist named Pastor William Bell, and the same question comes up about the Great Tribulation in Matthew 24. And then Gorilla states that it was actually future tense. So I was trying to ask the officer, it's like, okay, could you like break this down? Like, do you and Alazar have like a disagreement here, or did you guys like change the doctrine? Do you guys now teach that the Great Tribulation already happened? Because I remember watching y'all a couple years back, and y'all were saying that the Great Tribulation is yet to come. So, like, inform me, is there like a change in the doctrine or like what happened? And then this dummy is like, uh, well, don't ask me about, conversation with like Deacon or Alazar. I don't know what answer they will give you. You can ask me what I think about it though. And then I try to tell the guys like, hey, look, man, like listen close for a second, right? Like put the Red Bull down and just listen to what I'm saying. All of you claim to be in the same group, or I should say at some point Deacon claims. So for sake of argument, we'll leave Deacon to the side because he's no longer part of the organization, right? So for the sake of argument, let's leave him to the side. So let's talk about Alazar, which is literally the leader, the top head of your organization that you claim to represent on YouTube, right? So if you guys are teaching differently, how does that make sense? How can you both claim that you represent Sicarii if you guys are both literally teaching differently from one another? And like somehow the guy like couldn't get the point that I was saying. He was like, "Oh, well, well, why bring up what Alazar says?" It's like, dummy. The reason I'm bringing it up is because you guys are in the same camp, literally the same group. That means that you should all be teaching the same doctrine when it comes to the scriptures. Now, sure, there could be some variance as far as like your lifestyle. Like, say, for instance, you might drink Red Bulls and Alazar might drink smoothies. Or say, for instance, you might be into action movies and Alazar might be into horror movies. Just for two examples where outside of the ministry there could be some differences. Or I'll give you another example. Alazar might like burgers. You might prefer a chicken sandwich. Okay? Those are a couple differences between the two of you that have nothing to do with the ministry. But in the context of the conversation, I'm asking about what is Sakari's stance, literally the organization that you claim to represent. And like, the many ways I tried to break it down to this guy, the simple point I'm saying, the guy just couldn't get it. The guy just couldn't get what I was trying to say. Like, I don't know if a guy was like, high on something or like, I don't know, being willfully just stupid or something. I don't know. But I was just having a good laugh. It's like, bro, you really can't get what I'm saying. Like, if you guys claim to be in the same organization, you should both give me the same answer for the question. Like hypothetically, let's say if I asked you about, like, say the Star of David, for example, right? Like, you should both give me the same answer as to what it is and the history of it. Or let's say if I asked you a breakdown of like John the 12th chapter, right? You both of you should give me the same breakdown of the chapter, right? It shouldn't be, well, Alazar says different than I say this. It's like, okay, let's say if that's the case, well, why are you guys in the same group then? Like, shouldn't you guys not be in the same group because both of you claim that you represent the organization? So how is it that apparently the organization teaches different things on the same topic, right? Like, I mean, this is stupid. It's like, you can either admit that Alazar is wrong or that maybe you guys need to, do a little bit more talking behind the scenes about the doctrine. Like, again, the choice is yours as to, the in and outs of why you both are not seeing differently. But the point that I'm saying, and I think any rational person could see what I'm stating here, right? If you're in the same organization, if you're going to represent your organization in a debate or a conversation, you should speak according to what the organization's stance is on the topics being discussed. Like, I don't get how this is like so mind blowing and unbelievable and hard to grasp. Like, I just don't get that. I don't get how this is like so hard to grasp this concept. I just don't get that. It was amazing to me. And then the dummy's like, well, you can go ask Alazar about that. It's like, no, dummy. I want to ask you about it because you're in the same organization. So that means that you should give the same damn answer for the topic. Like, I don't get how this is like so mind-boggling. Like, say for instance, let me give you an example. Like, if I was to run into like an ISUPK member and have a conversation with them on like the streets of New York or something, right? Every single one of them would give me the same answer for the question, just as a organized organization would. If I run up to the Jehovah Witnesses or the Catholic Church, they're going to give me the same answer if they're part of the same organization. Like, I don't see how this is like such a unbelievable concept to grasp, right? So what that says about your organization is that y'all are in disorder. Then I find it funny, like somehow they consider it to be like disrespectful to say this, right? Like, oh, well, I don't know what you mean. It's like, well, dummy, I mean, it's like, from an outsider listening into what the camp's teaching, right? You guys should teach one and the same if you claim to represent the same organization. Like, I don't get how that's like such a mind-boggling concept. And again, I don't want to, rant about the same point for an hour here, but I'm just saying, I found that just so childish and bizarre to me how like he couldn't grasp that. It's I don't know, maybe the dude needs some fish oil pills or maybe he needs to cut back on some sugar. Brother might need to, eat some salads or something. I don't know. Right. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But beyond that point, right? Another interesting thing this guy told me in this conversation. Oh, and by the way, if you do want to watch the whole conversation, after this live stream, I'm going to pin it in the comment section down below. Okay, so listen there. After this live stream, which I recommend you listen to this first before you listen to the debate. Excuse me. Um, After the stream, I'm going to pin a link to watch it in the comment section down below. So that's where you can listen to the whole dialogue. And you might want to forward the first 15 minutes because it's just to do like asking people for donations and shit. Like, it's funny, like the dude will literally leave the live stream on for like 8 hours after our 2 hour conversation. So people could keep clicking on the live stream to get them views and hoping that people would donate. Like, say for instance, like he left up a way to contact him to give donations, right? Like he had a goal for like 10 donations for the live stream, which he got one of them. But it's funny, like this whole thing is all about money to this guy, right? Like the dude literally asked me for $10 for Christ's sake. It's like shit. Like, first of all, I'm the one on here having this conversation. And if I wasn't on here, what the hell would you be doing otherwise? Sitting there, reading comics or something? Or doing a damn juggling to get damn donations coming in? I mean, come on, this dude had the nerve to ask me for a donation. Shit, I'll give him credit though. At least it wasn't as bad as the damn Q-Brother black community stream. I mean, shit, that takes the cake as being one of the most pathetic and ridiculous communities on YouTube. But that's a topic for another time. I'm not going to get into that bullshit now. But something else this dummy said is I got to write it down here so I wouldn't forget. It says he said Christ will pass away and leave his glory and his inheritance to his descendants. That's literally what this guy said. So this guy was saying that in the kingdom, for one, the elect are not going to live forever. We're going to like eventually like pass on or, transcend, which is funny. Like, how are we going to transcend if we're already in the kingdom in the context of the verse? Right. So if we're in the kingdom in this new heaven and new earth, right, in the future, how are we going to transcend above that? Then he says, well, in the spiritual realm, sir. It's like, okay, but wait a second. But doesn't the Bible say that all spirits go back to God? And the Bible says that God's going to dwell on earth, right? Revelation 21, I want to say it's verse 3 and 4, right? Says that God's going to dwell on earth with men, wipe away their tears. He's going to do away with death and sorrow and pain, so on and so forth. Oh, which, by the way, they reject that. They reject it, which I found that to be so remarkable and strange to me. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. So apparently, according to these guys, Christ Yahushua is going to like pass away one day. He's going to like transcend and you're not going to be there anymore. And then he's going to like leave his glory and his inheritance to his children that he's going to have. It's like, wow, this is, man, I'll tell you, man, after watching some of these camps for like 8 or 9 years on YouTube, I'll tell you, man, there's definitely some bugged out, wayward doctrines over the years that have creeped in, man. Like, I mean, damn, this is a good example of what the hell these guys talking about. That in the kingdom of heaven, God's elect are gonna like pass on one day. I mean, Christ said that he that believes on him has eternal life. Like, hey, John 3:16, right? John 3:16, right? He that believes on the Son has eternal life. So I don't know how you can get around that point. Or what about Matthew 19? Christ told the apostles, those that have given up, land or houses or brethren or islands or so on and so forth for my name, he's going to gain all of it back, and then he's also going to gain eternal life. So like I don't understand how like we could like gloss over all these points and pretend like that Christ didn't say that, because he clearly did. I just find it to be like so remarkable and strange to me, some of these doctrine. And, it's funny because I try to tell the guys like, hey, look, man, I think, again, no disrespect, but I think you believe a lot of these things because you've been indoctrinated, into believing these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, like all the verses you go to as notes, or like preset packages to the verses in conversation, you're going there because you were taught to go to these verses that have nothing to do with the topic, to try to like interject, to what's being talked about. Like, say for instance, um, he will tell me that God didn't create man to be immortal. And then I confront him and ask, well, wait, why did Paul talk about that this corruptible body has to put on a immortal body? And what is that? 1 Corinthians 15:50? Like, what about that? Like, well, how's it talking about this mortal body we're in has to put on a immortal body in the rapture day? Wait a second, immortal? Well, what does the word immortal mean? Surely, quote unquote scholar like you should know what the word immortal means, right? So that's a cut right there. But then the man, the uppercut, the spiritual uppercut here was I brought up Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23. Which, by the way, this caught him off guard, because he wouldn't expect a caller to go to the Apocrypha, because most people don't accept the Apocrypha, right? So I called him off guard with this one. I asked him about if God didn't create man to be immortal. Well, how do you break down Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23? It says, "For God hath created man to be immortal like unto himself." Let me say it again. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23. It says, "For God hath created man to be immortal like unto himself." And then the dummy's like, well, why? Well, we're not immortal today. It's like, well, yeah, of course we're not immortal today, because we went off, right? Sin entered the world, right? And the reason we die in the first place is because of sin and transgression. But in the kingdom of heaven, we're not going to commit sin. Like, sure, I can agree the other nations on earth might commit iniquities and get chastised for that, sure. But as far as God's chosen people in the kingdom of heaven, they're not going to commit iniquities and sins. Like, what about the new covenant, which you guys teach we're not in, which I do agree we're not in it, but it further proves the point. Doesn't it say that all would know the Lord from the least to the greatest, all would know his laws written on their inward parts, and all thy people will be righteous? Doesn't not say that in Jeremiah 31:31 and was that Hebrews 8? Is that not what it says? So my question is, if we all know the Lord's law on our inward parts and all know him from the least to the greatest in the kingdom, well, then how the hell are we still going to go off and commit sin? And then the dummy's like, well, yeah, we're not going to commit sin. It's like, okay, then, so how the hell are we going to pass away then? How the hell are we going to like translate from one body into some future something? It's stupid. It doesn't make any damn sense. So I mean, this is some major red flags right here, man. And again, even though I'm sitting here bashing the Sicarii, I still give the group credit, that they're out there trying to wake our people up, to keep God's law, statutes, and his commandments. I will give the group credit on that. I've watched these guys for a whole number of years. Of course, I've always had, some points of contention on certain topics. And there's some stuff they're right on, some things they are wrong on. And the same thing can go with like every other group out there. Like, say, for instance, Great Millstone, IUIC, ISUPK, GOCC, Sons of Thunder, so on and so forth. I mean, there's so many Israelite camps and groups out here, man. I mean, you could literally do a whole hour stream naming all of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just bizarre to me. It's just bizarre, some of the stuff that this guy was telling me. And you could tell this guy was winging it. He didn't really have a clue. And it was funny because I asked the dude, like, how long have you been an Israelite for? The guy's like, well, I've been an Israelite since birth. It's like, well, dummy, you clearly realize I'm talking about like how long have you considered yourself to be an Israelite for? And the guy's like, oh, well, I've considered myself to be an Israelite for like 5 years. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, hold up a second, hold up. Well, wait on a second. Wait, how are you a top of the line officer over a camp if you've only been in the truth for 5 years? So literally since 2020, with the whole Corolla situation, which feels like it was yesterday, like that's literally the amount of time that this guy's been in the truth. Boy, I'm half your age, and I've been in the truth for double the amount of time that you've been. I've been in the truth for 10 years. And of course, to be fair, I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I'm not saying that I'm the top guy myself. I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is I just find it weird how like this guy is like some type of top of the line officer. If he's only been in the truth for like 5 years. Like, I mean, don't y'all have anybody in the school that's been in the truth for like, say, 8 years or so, or 12 years? I don't get that. That's just strange. Let me see real quick. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Rich. And the dude in the comment section there. Bear for me a second. I gotta grab a drink. It's funny because I prepared for it to be damn freezing out here today, just like it has been every other day I go outside. But of course, the one day I actually dress and put my damn socks on for once, it's actually pretty damn hot out here, right? It's pretty toasty outside. Of course, when I'm out here, dressed in all this winter gear and whatnot, right? But any other day that I decide, screw it and just wear a damn coat and pants, then it's cold as can be. But of course, the one day when I actually prepare for the occasion, then it's actually extremely hot outside. That's just ironic how that turns out sometimes, isn't it? Oh, here's something I want to talk about is the audience reaction and responses to the whole conversation. And these people in the comment section, a lot of these people don't got a damn clue what's going on. Like, say, for instance, like if you were to click on their icon and go to their channel, it's going to be a bunch of empty pages with like what, maybe 2 subscribers. And it'll probably say that it was like made like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And it's like a damn empty account just with like what, liked videos on it as one playlist. That's like what, 90% of these idiots in the comment section, they're just, talking a lot of shit that they don't really know about, right? Just repeating stuff to sound smart. That's a lot of these guys in these comment sections, man. But a lot of these guys, if they were to actually put their money where their mouth is and actually call into these streams and have conversations, then they would find out real quick that they're not, not the brightest bulb in the box for lack of better terms. So let's address some of these ridiculous statements I seen in the comment section of the live stream. And I really didn't pay much attention to it, but then afterwards I went back after the discussion to watch what was going on down there. Just for entertainment values, right? So, one dummy was trying to say, "Oh, well, first of all, I got to address this. I got to address this point." There was some guy in the comment section talking about, "Oh, well, this guy's trying to like sow discourse. Why come here? With that Christianity. You can just go back into that, Christianity that you're preaching. We don't want that here. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, hold up a second, hold up a second. Dude, you do realize that literally in the very first 2 minutes of the conversation, before we even get into the dialogue, he asked me to introduce myself to the audience. And I literally state in the introduction that I used to, I grew up in the Christian churches, but then over the past, some years, I've considered myself to be a Hebrew Israelite. So literally either, the dummy didn't pay attention, maybe he's deaf in one ear. I don't know, right? But literally, if you watch the conversation, I state that I'm not coming from the Christian perspective. I would consider myself to be of a similar view as being a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? But I just find that funny, that the dummy didn't even realize that, like literally in the first 2 minutes of the conversation. So if he literally missed that, and the first very 2 minutes of the debate, or not even debate, literally before the debate even began, if he missed that already, that shows you that individual is not very they're not the sharpest knife in the drawer, for lack of better terms. So let's address one point. Oh, trying to show discourse. Like I don't get that. Like how is just asking to have a conversation about topics we see differently. Like how is that sowing discourse? Oh, and by the way, me and this cat, we were very polite as far as our Gmails back and forth together. He was disrespectful on live stream, but as far as our Gmails back and forth leading up to it, we were very respectful. Say for instance, we were actually supposed to schedule it for the week prior, but due to snowy conditions in my area, I couldn't do it. So I asked him if he could please, do it this week or whatever, and then he agreed to it. So that was good. We were able to reach an agreement there, and then I even offered to do it. Hey, look, man, if you got time earlier, you're welcome to go live like an hour or two early. Whatever works for you is fine. So we were respectful as far as our Gmail back and forth, but whenever we go on live stream, then that seems to make the worst of people. You know what I find ironic though? Like if you watch the conversation, you can see how respectful and humble I'm being with the guy. I mean, sure, there's one or two jokes here or there, but he did the same thing. But the ironic part about it, the part that I'm trying to make sense of, is a lot of the people in the comment section tried to say that I was being disrespectful. I seriously don't see that. Like if you rationally watch that conversation, I don't see how anybody can say that. Although I will say this, I think these guys are saying that because they're fanboys of this guy. And whatever this guy says or does, they'll kiss this guy's ass. That at least in my view, that's what it looked like to me. But shit, I could be wrong. Fair enough. Let me see a second. So yeah, say for instance, right? Like I've seen this guy Rob Yasawap or whatever, Yawasup or whatever this dude's name is. Um I've seen this guy like do videos or live streams having discussions with anything from like atheists to like a Christian pastor to just regular Christians calling in, all the way up to a full preterist. So how is it not considered to be like sowing discourse by having conversation with those people? But when I come up and want to have a discussion about these topics of disagreement and have a respectful discussion, that is somehow considered to be like a discourse or confusion or whatever. But that's stupid, right? That just makes no damn sense. That's retarded. Like a lot of people just can't think logically. A lot of people are just not thinking straight, and I think that's a damn shame. Oh, and then a whole nother point is say for instance, like in every other discussion, like say if they bring people up from the comments that want to come up and talk or bring other guests on, they'll let everybody go up with just like an icon picture, how I have here, right? And that dude will be on camera every time, right? But literally in every discussion I've watched, everybody comes up with just an icon picture, and they never ask them to turn the camera on. But for some weird reason, they try to make it look like, well, wait, why won't you come on camera? Like, why won't you turn the camera on? It's like, well, first of all, I'm in the car, so I can't. I'm not in the office like you are, right? And then second of all, I don't want to put the light on because it'll make me look suspicious sitting out here. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let's be considerate of some people's circumstances. Like, say for instance, like everybody else when they come up here, you don't have a problem if they leave the camera on or off. So why all of a sudden do I have to have it on? That doesn't make any damn sense. I just want to point that out that the only person they gave shit about not having a camera on is me. Literally anybody else that comes up to talk, they don't care. Let that sink in for a second. That's just ridiculous, and I just find that to be stupid. Oh, and then here's a funny one. Like there were some dummies in the chat. Like what's up with all these conspiracies lately? Which I'll save that, but let me mention this first. Like a whole conspiracy, like a couple guys were saying down there is, yeah, this guy must be like Vocab Malone, right? This guy must be vocab Malone just like using like a different account to join or something. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait, what? Like, I mean, you can literally see that me and vocab Malone, we've actually had like maybe two or three conversations where you can literally see us both on screen at the same time talking to each other, right? So, I mean, how the hell could we be the same person? We don't look the same, neither do we sound the same. So again, some people are just stupid, right? Some people just say stupid shit because they, got an acorn-sized brain. It's hilarious to me. Like, what's up with all these like bullshit, conspiracies on YouTube or online? Like, everything is a conspiracy nowadays, right? Like, everything isn't real, everything is all fake. Like this whole Antarctic final experiment that happened within the last 2 months. Oh, everything's fake, right? All those guys are liars and deceivers. Sure, all this, hundreds of hours of footage they came back with, that's not sufficient evidence, right? I mean, come on. It's hilarious. Like, I mean, what about the souvenirs they came back with? What about the hundreds of photographs they have? What about all the time lapses they have? What about the physical proof they have that they went there? All that don't matter. I mean, it's really sad and pathetic, the state that well, the truth community is on YouTube and these religious communities as well on YouTube. I just think it's a sad and pathetic state that they all seem to be in today's day and age. It's really sad and pathetic. Like shit, like say for instance, like, everybody seems like, they're so paranoid for some reason. Like everybody seems to be like so paranoid. Like say for instance, like I was trying to join some type of live stream. We'll just call this dude like, what is this guy, Burritos Lounge or something like that? Whatever this dummy's channel was. I was trying to join a live stream, and they make you go for all these hoops and hurdles to try to join the live stream. Like, say for instance, they'll be like, "Well, I don't know if this is a real guy or not. I don't know if we can trust him." I say, "Okay, well, they already left me in the back chat for 25 minutes. Well, how about you let me on, but you put an overlay on the screen until you find out I'm a real person? Like, why can't we do that?" If you want to go even further, I'll put the camera on and I'll even put on the hat that I have in the picture to show you I'm who I claim I am in the picture. Is that not good enough? Like, I mean, shit, what the hell do y'all want? Do you want like a damn piss sample or something? Like, I mean, seriously, like what else do y'all want? Like, it's funny. Like, I was joking around. It's like, it seems harder to get onto some of these YouTube live streams than the difficulty it takes to go through an airport security system. What is it? The TSA, metal detectors and everything that, get pat down. It seems like that's easier to go through than it is to get onto some of these live streams on YouTube with how paranoid everybody is and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's hilarious to me. It's hilarious. Like, it doesn't need to be this way. But they always try to make everything, more difficult and annoying than what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Let me grab a drink real quick. Okay. So yeah, I just want to speak about that, just a little recap of that conversation that we had. Which again, I'll say it again for the people listening after the live stream. If you head down to the comment section, you're going to see a link pinned with a link to watch the entire live stream, which I recommend fast forwarding the first 15 minutes because it's just his, self advertisement. But when you see me come on the screen, then you can start watching from there. Um, oh, it's funny. Let me mention this point. Like, I just got a notification from a channel called Sicarii Warlando, right? Warlando. And I pointed out in the debate, this guy put like a comment up and was saying something along the lines, "Oh, yeah, it'd be eternal life in the kingdom." And I was like, well, wait a second, you guys are in the same group, but now there seems to be some disagreement between y'all. And then this dummy's like, well, it doesn't mean that. It's like, but wait, but he's saying is everlasting life, eternal life. You do realize eternal life literally means without end, right? By a literal definition. Like, do y'all not know what the word immortal or eternal mean or everlasting? Like, let me ask you a question. This is going to knock his socks off. Is God everlasting? He'd say, yeah. Okay, so does everlasting mean everlasting? Yeah. So if the Bible says that we're going to get everlasting life, how's that not everlasting? How's that not forever? Hey, look, that right there, that's my mic drop moment right there. That is my mic drop moment. This guy, man, this is a embarrassment. This was a embarrassment, I should say. It's pathetic. But again, the dummies and the brain rotted parrots in the comment section, they'll just repeat whatever said. We're not going to live forever. Yeah, whatever you say, whatever you say. It's ridiculous. Like a whole nother point we talked about was the kingdom of heaven being literal or not. I cornered this guy into a box. So what I asked him was, okay, so do you agree that Noah's Ark was literal? He said, yeah, it was literal. What about the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle, and say the kingdoms that were built up in the Old Testament? Yeah, they're all literal. And then I said, okay, does it give us like the building materials of how these things were constructed and the materials used? Like, say, for instance, it gives like the measurements of all these structures, the type of wood used, stones used, so on and so forth, the type of linen used, and so on and so forth, right? So they'd agree that all that's literal, right? And it gives us the material used and the instructions to build it. So how, on the other hand, could he then claim the kingdom of heaven, Revelation 21, is now not literal if it literally gives us the measurements of it and the materials used to construct the kingdom? Like, say, for instance, it talks about the streets being made of pure gold, the walls being great and high, having 12 gates to enter the city, right? On each side of the wall, there were 12, excuse me, on each side of the wall, which would be 4 walls, each side had 3 gates. So altogether, that would be 12, right? And on top of the gate, it had one of the tribes' names on it, right? So each tribe of Israel would have one gate for themselves to enter into the kingdom by, right? And on top of that plaque, each gate had one of the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. So my question is, by reading all these evidences that this is a literal kingdom that's being constructed, how could y'all say it's not? Like, I mean, I don't get that. It just seems so stupid and just it's stupid. That's literally all you can say about it. It's just retarded and just it's really bizarre that you can, dumb people down to that type of level. Like, say, for instance, I asked the dude, it's like, okay, so do you guys believe like everything's literal in the Bible? Like, no, not everything's literal. It's like, okay, so like, how is it then by reasoning that we can read all these depictions of the physical kingdom of heaven, but then you say that it's all literal, or excuse me, it's all like not literal. It's all not literal according to him. It's like it's just remarkable. But then on the other hand, he'll agree, well, yeah, Noah's Ark or the Ark of the Covenant or the Tabernacle and so on and so forth. Yeah, all of those were literal, actually constructed. But the kingdom, that's not literal. That's not literal. Even though it gives literally the measurements and the materials used to construct it. I mean, you know, it's hilarious. But I cornered this dude into a box with that question, right? That was the knockout. That was the KO right there. I walked that dude into that trap. But yeah, I mean, pretty much that's all I have on just the recap of that debate. I mean, I think it was an interesting conversation. I'm glad that I was able to reach out to him to have that dialogue. I mean, and for the people that watch it, I mean, this is how we learn by having conversations with people that are of different perspectives, of life or theology or really any topic that you could imagine, right? That's how we grow and learn is by having these interactions with, people of different perspectives. Right, and that's one thing I agree with Captain Tazariak on. Like, I was watching a debate he did the other day on a live stream. Like, say for instance, I believe like every other day that he does like a car chronicles, he calls it, where he goes live and people can call in and talk to him as he's sitting there, making the gym protein shakes or whatever. And there was a dude that called in and he was saying, well, yeah, I disagree with, y'all talking about, that God like hates or, makes evil or, so on and so forth. And, Tazariak was like, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the conversation, it was, respectful, even though we disagree on, our perspectives, it was a good conversation. He told everybody listening that when y'all call in to talk, keep it like how this guy, kept it. It was funny because he called the dude a brother, but you could tell this guy was an Edomite by the way he was talking. So he got called off guard there by calling the Edomite the brother. But then on any other live stream, it wouldn't call an Edomite a brother. Like, say, for instance, I believe there's this dude named Jeremy, right, Jeremy or Jeremy, whatever one of the two, right? On what's this cat? Oh shit, what's this channel called? Damn, it's on the tip of the tongue. Oh, I believe it's Stephen Harvey or something like that. Stephen Harvey, open Christian panel. Tazariak goes on there like every couple weeks. And there's always this guy named Jeremy that calls in, right? And they have a funny dialogue every time. But, they established that he's an Edomite, right? So Tazariak's like, oh, well, you're not my brother, right? He'll always go out of the way to make sure he says that. It's hilarious. But yeah, man. Uh, it's funny. I was listening as I started the stream up and put like the 30-second countdown. I'm not sure why the music was different today. Like usually it's just a regular, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Oh, bear with me a second. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to change the classic countdown music. I like just the regular way it was put. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but I'll look into that. But yeah, man, it's excuse me if I sound a little bit out of breath. I actually recorded like maybe an hour and a half worth of videos before this. So do excuse me if I sound a little bit, out of breath here because I am. But again, I had to do the stream because I been meaning to do this for the last couple of days. So I needed to go ahead and get this underway while I had the opportunity. And again, there's a lot of bullshit situations going on right now. Like, say for instance, where I usually do my live streams, which is this car here, got to be towed away and worked on like literally later today. So I figured I wouldn't get a chance to come out here for I don't know how much longer. So I better get another stream or so in before that happens. So yeah. Hmm. Bear with me a second. I got to zip this. Man, it's crazy how hot it got out here. Oh, one thing I'll mention, which I'm going to show these in like a future video, but I haven't got the chance to do that yet. The other day, I was at a store and I was looking through like the clearance section they have at the stores. Where they like mark the products down. I was looking through the aisle and I found like say 5 packs of fire starters. You can look these up on Amazon. They're called Go Fire, and I bought the 50 pack. But guess what though? On Amazon, the 50 pack sells for $20, and I found these clearance ones, the 5 pack. Or 5 separate packs, but all of them had 50 in it, and they literally were $3 each. $3 for 5 of them. So if you do the math on that, that comes up to $15, say $16 with tax on it. So I picked up all five of those. And if you do the math on that, if online they all sell for 20, so that would be 100, right? So I saved, say, like $85, right? Compared to if I would have spent a full price on all of those, right? And they're actually really good. Like, you can watch reviews of these on YouTube. I watched a couple of them just to, see if they, what they were about, whatever. Um, and they even last for like up to 30 years, so you could just like leave these things on the shelf. And anytime you go camping or need to light the charcoal stove, or the fireplace, or maybe a fire pit, or so on and so forth, you can easily do it, right? So, man, that was a damn good deal right there. Shit, that got to be the damn bargain of the week right there, if not the bargain of the month. Another cool find that I picked a couple of up recently is that I was at my own personal adult playground, the Dollar Tree. Inside joke, shout out to the Wolf Pit. Um, but I was at the Dollar Tree and I was looking through the tool aisle, and they recently just came out with a box cutter. Right, you get a box cutter. It's retractable. Right, you push the button when you want it to go up. You push the button down when you want it to retract into the handle, and you get two extra replacement blades with it. And I picked a couple up and was trying them, and man, these things, they're wicked sharp, right? Like, these things, man. Like, I'll give you an example of how sharp these things are, right? Like, I was cutting some cardboard, went through it as smooth as butter, but I didn't realize as I was going through it, skid across the bed and literally cut the damn bed open. It's like, shit, cut the damn bed open. I didn't even realize it hit the damn bed. you know, so that's damn. That's a bargain right there if I've ever seen one. Damn, a damn box cutter knife with two replaceable blades for $1.25. And I've been using the thing for a damn, solid week. And, the blade is still as good as when I unboxed the thing. Yeah, hey, yo, Rudy, if you're listening, man, if you're watching this, you better take your ass down to your local Dollar Tree and you better get a couple of those things, man. I know you've been saying you've been falling behind as far as your prepping goes, but you better take advantage of them while they're there, man, because that ain't gonna last very long. Oh, another good point, which I'm hoping in the near future I can like do a video, like, say for instance, like, I do the real life setup where you see me sitting there talking. I'm planning on hopefully in the near future being able to do one about, like, say, the top 5 or top 10 dollar store prepping items that I found, right? And I'm just showing you maybe one or two or three examples here that will be on that list, such as I also found a bottle of unfiltered and treated honey, right? It's literally just raw honey, straight from the hives. And, that honey literally will last. Shit, it will outlive you. Literally, by the way, I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, literally, they found honey in pots from like ancient Egypt times. Like, say, for instance, when they excavate some of these like Egyptian tombs or whatever, right? They found pots like filled with honey, and you can still eat it, right? It will still be fine to eat. It's not going to do anything to you, even if you eat it, a few thousand years later, 3,000 years later. So that's honey's a superfood. You want to stock up on that. So I was like, shit, I better grab like 5 damn bottles of that while I'm here. Now, sure, if we do the math on it, perhaps it might make more sense to buy like a whole big bottle compared to like these um little bottles. But then again, I thought about it and said, you know what, hold up a second. The reason I'm going to buy these little bottles, even though it might make more financial sense to buy the bigger ones, the reason I'm going to get these little ones is because I can barter with these much more easier than I could with an entire full bottle, right? So the idea behind getting the little bottles, even though you're getting less for the money, they're in little compact containers that you don't have to take the seal off the top. So it stays, nice and fresh, and, sealed. And it's easier to barter and trade with that if the, time comes to it. Right. And I'll give you another example of something that might financially make more sense to buy a larger pack, but it's also makes sense to get the little pack. Like, say, for instance, like another item that would be on that top 10 list is I found a 10 pack of those blue latex medical gloves. Like, say, for instance, you ever go to the dentist and they have the blue gloves they got to, work on your teeth with. Those are the exact ones I'm talking about. But there was a pack of 10 of them for $1.25. And they're perfectly, I want to say, almost vacuum sealed, right? They're very neatly organized into this plastic wrapping, right? They're not just like rushed in there and it's all like big and puffy. The wrapper, no, they're like neatly laid out inside of it, right? Like you could literally like fit this in the glove compartment of the car and it will like take up no room, right? How you can put this what's this thing called? The visor, right? You can put it on the visor overhead in the car, and it'll literally take up no room, right? It's not like a puffy package, So I was thinking, even though it would make more financial sense to buy like 100 pack box for the price, it makes more sense to actually buy these little packs. That way, say for instance, if you need to throw it into a bug out bag, you don't have to like grab the gloves out of the big box and like put them in a Ziploc bag and they're all going to be all crunched up and puffy. You can just throw this neatly organized pack in there and there you go. Or another one, you could barter them away if the time needed. Right? Rubber gloves are always needed. 100 different uses for those things. Same thing with condoms. And believe it or not, those are at the Dollar Tree too. Like I mean, I believe they have like a 12-pack box there. But I mean, literally, I've only found them one time at Dollar Store. Like, I've literally found it one time. Shit, I grabbed like what? I think I would grab like 6 boxes out of the 8 boxes they had. But, a lot of good uses for those. Of course, the obvious use. Throw a couple of them in the bug out bags. You can carry water, transport water in them, use them as a makeshift glove. Um, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of other uses. I can't think of all of them off the top of the head. But there's a lot of good uses for these things. I'd recommend getting the just the regular plain ones. You don't want any, anything on them, just regular plain. Same thing with all the gloves. Again, there's I've said it before and I'll say it again, Dollar Tree is like a gold mine when it comes to prepping. There's so many good deals you can get at the local Dollar Trees. Um, for items that you might pay like 5 to 10 times the price, at other locations. Like shit, I'll give you an example. Like I found last year, I found like turntables that were $1.25. You look the things up, they're like $12 at Walmart for literally the exact same thing. So that's just an example. Sometimes you can find, good bargains on things. Shit, I'll give you another example. I was looking at the movies, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, and I found, how they have the $1.25 movies there, just laying at the bottom of the shelf, and I was looking for them, and I was like, oh, there's no way. I found the Starving Games there, right? If you look up on YouTube, the Starving Games, it's like a parody of the Hunger Games franchise, and it's a funny movie. You can watch it for free on YouTube, but if you want to buy the disc, it's $20 on Amazon for it. If you want to buy the disc to own it. I was like, shit, wait, I found that at the damn dollar store? Yeah, I believe I grabbed all that I could find. I believe they had like maybe 3 or 4 of them, so I grabbed all of them. That's shit. That's meme material right there, right? So hold on to those. It'll only go up in value because they're not making the DVD anymore. Because shit. So say for instance, you keep that for a couple more years. might be able to get double the price, might be able to get damn $40 for that. Because people want that because it's like a collector's item, right? It's a piece of YouTube history, for lack of better terms. Man, I couldn't believe when I found that there. So always it's always good just to double check that area, whenever you're there. You never know what you'll find. Shit, I'll give you another example. I was at a yard sale and I was overlooking something. We weren't gonna stop there because it didn't have a whole lot there. But I started to stop anyway, and I was looking, and I found the Jurassic World DVD. The first one that came out in like 2015. I found that there. They wanted $2 for it. I was thinking, sure, it's open and used. But then again, the same DVD at Walmart I seen, they want like $15 to $20 for the same DVD, right? So I'll just buy it here. Give them the $2 for it, and I add it to my movie collection. Hell, I didn't have that one. Yeah, now I have. Not pretty sure I have the whole series. Yeah, I have 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, they're coming out with the fourth one. I want to say maybe in 4 or 5 months from now, they're coming out with the fourth one. I believe the movie's called Rebirth, right? Jurassic World Rebirth. You look the trailer up on YouTube. I mean, shit, they they're milking it at this point, right? They should have just ended at the third one, which I agree with people. The third Jurassic World movie could have been better. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I mean, it definitely was a letdown. Again, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad movie, right? It was pretty good, but it was a letdown compared to what it could have been and what it was teased as being. Right, definitely gotta say that, definitely the least favorite out of the 3 of them. As far as the other, was what are they? The 3 Jurassic, Park movies? I mean, I've never been a fan of them. I mean, they're alright, but, again, me personally, I grew up with the, Jurassic World movies, which, basically they're the same thing, but they're just like an offshoot of it. Like, say, for instance, same thing like how, same thing with how The Hobbit is like an offshoot of The Lord of the Rings, right? So they're basically like the same universe, same, it's kind of like same storyline, same characters, but they're like an offshoot story, like a side story to it, right? So that's how Jurassic World kind of is. But I definitely would prefer that any day over the original ones. That's just my opinion, though. Let's see. Oh, look at that. We're exactly an hour. I might go a couple more minutes, depending on how depending on what comes to mind. But we're crossing the hour point now. Bear with me for a second. Yeah, I can't stay on for too much longer because I'm expecting a important phone call within the next 20 minutes. So I can't stay for too much longer. But another 5 minutes won't hurt, though. Let me see. I'm just looking at some notifications in the background here. Eh. Anyway, you know, going back to what I was saying. Oh, like I'll give another dollar store example of something that you should stock up. Like I was looking at the toothpaste aisle, and they have this. It's like a foldable toothbrush. Like it folds down into itself, and it's like the right size to like take on a airplane or a boat, like cruise or so on and so forth. Right, perfect for travel, and they get also a little toothpaste with it as well. Like what is it? Like maybe what, an 8 ounce tube of toothpaste, something like that. Um, one of those little damn bottles, and and yeah, it's like $1.25 for that. You can't go wrong. Shit, add some of them to the barter box. Hey, look, even when society goes sideways, people still need to brush their teeth, right? People still need to brush their teeth and take care of the personal hygiene. That's why you should stock up on toothpaste, deodorant, um, maybe a few soaps and, stuff like that. Oh, some floss. Bear with me a second. Lion of Judah asked, do you have Discord? Yes, I do have Discord, though it's not on this device. So I can't give you a link here because I have it on a different device. But I do have Discord. If you remind me in the comment section, like say for instance, like after this live stream, if you comment down below in the comment section and ask for the link, I can help you out with that down there. But I can't give you it right now. Yeah, that's that's a good one, man. I don't know. The shit, what's funny? Like it's funny you mentioned that about the rappers, right? Like I was watching earlier, there was a video that was put up by this guy. Oh shit, what's this guy's name? I believe the channel is called The Modern Survivalist, and this guy he read a book that I have. I believe it's called Surviving the 2001 Economic Collapse of Argentina. I would absolutely recommend reading that book, a phenomenal book, 8 out of 10 rating for me. I believe this guy's name is Fervella or something like that. Yeah, I'm butchering the dude's name, but you can look his channel up. But I was watching a video that he put up. Well, actually, it was an old video, maybe like 11, 12 years old. But I just was watching it this morning. It was about how to use like a Glock in like 3 minutes, right? He was training how to use it in like 3 minutes, right? And it's funny because the first comment that was put up under it was, well, yeah, this is rappers, in every song, just flexing, their guns and whatnot. And it was like the top comment there. Everybody was liking it. Shit, that reminded me of that. I'll look at that. 13 above is about to go live in 30 minutes. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like a brand new Christian live stream panel that has popped up on YouTube within the last I want to say maybe the last 3 months they've came around. I believe they got like 500 subscribers, something like that. But these guys are new, right? Like these guys just popped up like 3 months ago, right? So these guys are like shit, as Jay would say, these are baby truthers. Shit, as that guy would call them, right? Though, it's funny because even though they're already just a baby as far as coming on YouTube, right? With how long they've been on here, shit, they're already having damn full panels over there. Shit, what's his cat? Truth and Tello's Ice Cream Shop Ministry. That dummy already made his way over there, right? That full preterist dude made his way all the way over there. Shit, and not only him, so did Ronan. Anybody remember that homeless dude that always would harass the Sicarii? Ronan. And by the way, if he's listening to this, I'm not making fun of the brother. I'm just being sarcastic with him. If he's listening to this, right? I don't got nothing against Ronan. I'm just messing around with him, just being funny. But yeah, Ronan even found his way over there. I was laughing to myself. I was like, oh wait, what? So Ronan and this preterist guy had a conversation with each other one time on there. Man, that was hilarious to watch these two dudes have a conversation. That was funny. Funny to see these two guys. And it's funny because both of these guys, have the attitude that they're like, the top guy. They both have like all the answers, right? They can't be wrong about anything. Both of them, both Ronan and this other cat, have that mindset, right? That they're like the top. They, figured everything out and so on and so forth. So it was just ironic and funny to watch these guys have a conversation with each other. It was just laughable. Um, let me see here. Speaking of movies, one last thing I can add on to that is, anybody else remember going to Walmart like I want to say maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and you look in the movie section and they literally have two entire aisles filled with almost every movie that you could think of, right? But yet now if you go to Walmart, they literally have like what, half an aisle that's filled with movies. And the kicker about it is like 90% of those are just like box sets. Like you have to buy a whole box set of, like, say for instance, you have to buy a whole trilogy of a series in order to buy it. You can't just like buy like one movie. Like say for instance, like if you want to buy let's say like a certain Star Wars movie that to add to your collection that you don't have, right? Like you can't do that. You have to buy the whole box set. Like maybe online you could buy the separate movie, but not physically there in the store you can't. Whereas 10 years ago you could go do that, right? Like say for instance, if I want to buy the third Hunger Games movie, I had to buy the whole damn set, which I have, by the way. I think I got a good deal on it. It was $20. Doesn't have the fourth movie in it though. Well, actually, hold on a second. Hold up a second. Let me rephrase myself. The Hunger Games series actually is four movies, but they now have a fifth movie. So I should say it doesn't have the fifth movie in it, which isn't terrible though, because from what I hear, it's a pretty it's a flop, if you know what that means, right? It's a flop, right? It was pretty bad. And part of the reason being so is because they totally just like did a side story that has nothing to do with the story in the last four movies. It's just like a total cash grab that has nothing to do with the main characters other than maybe one or two that are like not main characters. They're like if you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about. If you watched the four episodes. Let me grab a drink real quick. Yeah, so I don't want to stretch this stream out too much longer. I'm going to go to an hour and 10 minutes just for my OCD here. So bit under 2 minutes. Um, but yeah, this was an interesting stream. A couple people stopped by. People are going to be listening afterwards. If anybody made it to the end of the stream, put hashtag Judah. Hashtag Judah. We'll give that bro a little shout out since he's a new brother around here. Hashtag Judah if anybody made it to the end of the live stream. And by the way, if you're still watching, you can ask me down below, and I can shoot that link over to you to help you out with that and joining the Discord. And again, in my Discord, there's some trolls in there. Like not everybody in there is a Hebrew Israelite or a Christian. There's some people in there that just don't know what the hell's going on. But again, I leave my server open. The only time I step in to moderate or, to kick somebody out, which I've had to do a handful of times before, somebody's in there, posting stuff we can't have in there, or, doxing people, or, all these different fights or something, stuff like that will step in and moderate, and set things straight. But, I don't mind letting people use freedom of speech, as long as they keep it, respectful. That's a good question, man. I mean, I'd have to look into that to I'd have to give you a response. Like don't get it confused. There's a Judah, which is the tribe of Israel, and then there's Judas, right? Judas, right, which is the guy that betrayed Christ for like what, 33 pieces of silver, 30 pieces of silver. Yeah, but anyway, that's the time for the stream today. So I thank everybody for tuning in. It was a good one. And I'm gonna cut the show there.